It only took 10 minutes. 10 minutes for a town in Uganda to be changed forever. We're going to look at what happened in Bombo, the tragic case of Private Charles Okello, and why so many questions are still just hanging in the air. So I want you to picture this. It's about 8 o'clock at night in Bombo. You know the vibe. The day's pretty much done. Shops are starting to pull down their shutters. People are heading home for the night. You can hear the buzz of motorcycles in the street. Just a totally, completely normal evening. Fast forward an hour. It's 9 p.m. And like in any town, there's that one local spot, right? A bar. And it's buzzing. It's packed. It's loud with conversation, friends catching up. For every single person in there, this is just another regular night out. But this is where everything starts to shift. A little after 9:30, a man walks in. Private Charles Okello. And here's the really crucial part. Nobody really noticed him. There was no big entrance, no fight, no argument. Absolutely zero warning of what was about to unfold. And then, just like that, everything changes. Gunshots. Just imagine it. The music just cuts out. The sound of talking is instantly replaced with screams. It was completely sudden, totally shocking. Nobody saw it coming. And the toll, it's just devastating. In less than 10 minutes, 10 people are dead. A night that was all about friendship and fun just ends in this absolute, unthinkable tragedy. Okay, so look at this timeline. It just shows you how fast this all went down. The shooting kicks off around 9:35. A minute later, chaos. By 9:40, the shooter is already outside still firing. And then, by 9:45, it just stops. Silence. Think about that. It takes another 15 minutes for the authorities to even get there. The whole attack, it's over in this terrifyingly short 10-minute window.
So, once the shooting stops, the focus immediately shifts, right? A manhunt starts. But this wasn't just any manhunt. The man they were looking for wasn't some stranger. He was a soldier, a man trained to protect these people. And now, he's the one accused of killing them.
And credit where it's due, the authorities moved fast. They identified Private Charles Okello as the suspect, and they arrested him pretty quickly. They even found the weapon. So the who part of this story, that got solved, and it got solved fast. But that's where any sense of clarity just stops. Because solving who did it just cracks open this much bigger, much darker question. Why? I mean, why would a soldier, a professional, open fire on civilians? It just doesn't make any sense. So you can bet investigators were all over this, trying to find a motive. They looked at everything you'd expect, right? Did he have a grudge against someone there? Was he dealing with some serious mental health issues? Maybe some old conflict just exploded that night. And this is where the story gets really frustrating. They looked into all of it, but they hit a total dead end. To this day, no single clear motive has ever been confirmed publicly. The why is still just a complete blank. And honestly, that might be the most terrifying part of this whole thing. So, with no clear motive, the case heads to trial. But here's a key detail. Because Okello was an active soldier, this wasn't going to a regular court. This was a military court-martial, a totally different system with its own rules, its own way of doing things. The charges were exactly what you'd expect, and they were heavy. Multiple counts of murder. The prosecution basically laid out all the evidence they had, including testimony from the people who survived that night. And when the court weighed all the evidence, the decision came back. Guilty. On every single count. So what does that mean for sentencing? Well, it had to match the scale of the crime, right? For the 10 people he killed, Private Okello was sentenced to 90 years in prison. So, legally speaking, you could say justice was served. But for the town of Bombo, this story was far from over. A whole community was just shattered, changed for good by those 10 minutes of absolute horror. You know, something this terrible leaves behind questions that a courtroom just can't answer. You're left wondering, how does something like this even happen? Was there any way to stop it? And it really makes you think about bigger issues, like what kind of responsibility comes with being trained to use a weapon, and what kind of support soldiers are getting. So at the end of the day, we have a verdict. We have a sentence. The legal system did its job and provided accountability. But that one fundamental question, the why, is still just out there. And maybe that's the real legacy of what happened in Bombo.
The haunting idea that sometimes the most awful things happen for reasons we might never, ever understand.